FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation.
The Foundation is brought to you by Accretio Hair Growth, ATO's Holdings, Ron's Electric Motors, Fidelity Bank Bahamas, Bonneville Bones, Commonwealth Bank, Burger King, Alive, and AML Foods Limited.
It's the foundation. Foundation. Oh, say it's the foundation. Foundation. Oh, say it's the foundation.
It's the foundation that's rocking the nation. Howard Grant's the host, Guardian radio station 96.9, 12 to 2. It's the time you can call the show or use the text line. Yeah, he educates, he informs. He goes against the norm. He's really got that zeal. Plus, he's a child of God.
Foundation. Oh, it's the foundation. Oh, foundation. Oh, so it's the foundation. Foundation. Oh, so it's the foundation. Foundation. Oh, so it's the foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 9 FM Radio, Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation. On a beautiful Thursday afternoon, live and in full effect in your neck of the woods, wherever you are. I say good afternoon. I hope that you're doing well, you and yours, and you continue to be able to expand and move in the direction that you're called to move. And it is a great day, a wonderful day, a day that you and I are going to dive into a little different conversation. We didn't have anybody set up the way that we'd like it to for this particular day. So we want to be able to open up the lines and have a great conversation with you along the lines of business, what's happening in our country. It's a beautiful day. Before we get further into anything, I got to give a shout out. You see the paper a little bit thicker today? You always look at the inserts and identify those persons who've actually been who've passed away. Let's do that. This is a time that we identify those things and take our time just to be able to acknowledge the life that was. If you're anything like myself, my grandmother, we go through the pages with awe and amazement to know who's passed away. So we continue to be able to pray for those persons, their lives that was here in the country, their contribution to our community. We say thank you for all those lives and pray that the Father continues to be able to bless you. Now, if you're one of those persons that was really dealing with some transition in your life, who's dealing with the fact that, a brother, sister, mother, father, someone's passed away very close to your friend. And you're at this particular juncture now that you have to identify how we're going to be able to deal with the remains. They've gone from a brother, a sister, a mother, father, a human being to the body. And you want to be able to find out how you're going to deal with that. Go down to my good, decent friends over at Butler's Funeral Homes and Crematorium. They take very good care of you. Very good care of you, and ensure that you're comfortable and you can preserve the life, the passion, the style, the pizzazz that was your loved one. I'm out there on Ernest and York Street, right down there on the East Bay Street. They can be able to assist you in those areas. It's a beautiful day. I got to give a shout out to my good, decent friends over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got everything laid out for you. If you're one of those persons who has just been able to receive some plates, talk to me. You get 5 plates, you get 10 plates, you get 2 plates. And now you get some money squeezed aside so you can be able to ensure that you get your vehicles, or you already have your vehicles, but you have not thought about insurance. Go down to AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got something package deal for you. They can lay it out far and wide and let you know exactly where you are and how they can assist you. In-house financing. Even if you have a jitney, taxi, wherever you in-house financing. So it ain't got to kill you. You can still pay the children's school fee, or you can still be able to get that particular Gouda cheese that you like at the supermarket, whatever you like. You don't have to be able to, break the bank for this. They have in-house financing. Reach out to them. 1-341-1-AFS, 341-1-AFS. They can be more than happy to assist you in those areas. Make sure that you're accommodated accordingly and moving with growth, with style and pizzazz and doing your thing. It's a beautiful to participate in the conversation. I'd love you to do so. Give me a call at 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere from the Family of Violence, 242-300-5720, or hit me up 422-4796, $100,000. So we're going to talk business today. We're going to talk about the business of the country. We're going to talk about where we are. We're going to be able to dissect those particular things. I know that we're still talking about crime and how those particular things happen. It seems like that's never ending. But we're going to talk about business today. And in the front of the papers today, make sure you pick up your National Guardian and look at these particular stories. $100,000 for pre-by-election travel. It's bananas. If you remember, the entire cabinet went down to Grand Bahama at one point. It's bananas. And when they put that kind of pressure, I knew Ricardo Grant was out of it. Now, don't fight me. I did say that the F&M was supposed to win that seat. I did say that Ricardo Grant was down there almost a year before. Even any acknowledgement from the Free National Movement, almost as though he's got a divine word and he just started campaigning. I did say that. I knew the strength of in the community in terms of how people view us as it relates to administration, execution, and leadership. I thought, talk to me, don't fight me, man. One man against a government who got the purse of the country? I thought that Ricardo Grant would have been able to bold a little bit better. But they put the whammy on him. And here we are. We continue to be able to say congratulations to Kingsley because he's a part of the community. That's very important. And as I told you, he's my cousin. Whether you believe this or not. I don't know how... Some people say, well, Charlie is my cousin. No. He's my actual cousin. We're family. So is Pakisha. Believe it or not. This is a very small knit community. I'm surprised that more of us aren't on the spectrum. Maybe we are. Maybe we never got tested in West Grand Bahama and Bimini. So we're out there, we're saying congratulations, but now we're looking at the paper, $100,000 for pre-by-election travel. Office of the Prime Minister acknowledges tax money helped facilitate PLP campaign. This is bananas. One of the things that I did not mention, and I'd like to talk about this. I listened to a voice note sent to me by the voice note extraordinaire himself, none other than Fred Mitchell. Today and always, it's PLP all the way. So I listened to a voice note that he put out there, and he said, let's not chase. That was the voice note. He sent that to me yesterday at 2:30 something a.m. And I think he was in Guyana, I believe. I can't remember where he was. And I listened to it. I didn't understand. What was this? When I see let's not go chasing, first thing I thought about was TLC After Waterfalls, right? That's the first thing I thought. And I listened to it, and it's a direct speech to the Office of the Prime Minister and Latreille Ramey. Now, though he did not indicate that, he said he speaks also to the Office of the Prime Minister in this particular capacity. Let's not chase after rabbits. There's no need for you to pontificate and explain yourself in these particular matters. And now we see that the Office of the Prime Minister is providing us, well, with the sense of transparency which is required and is essential. We're understanding these things, and I feel like you're the webs we weave. Oh, the webs we weave when we deceive. I feel like this is a political web that's being woven in our society. Now, I don't know whether or not this is capturing your imagination or if this is designed to be able to deflect and people will move away from this organization as towards 2026. The PLP is actively, right now, moving towards a very clear and precise election campaign for 2026. And dare I say, based upon this kind of a premature, is it premature? I don't know. I can't call it premature. Based upon this kind of a preemptive move, there are a lot of things that looms in your mind because of the tradition of what exists within our politics as to whether or not this is going to lead to another or an early election. So you ask those questions. Is this going to lead to an early election? Is the Prime Minister in his posture preparing himself for an early election? Well, I dare say, as we dabble into our campaign bag and try to be the Acme bag that has everything, we pull this out and have a conversation about politics, I dare say this would be the best time. By the end of this year, beginning of next year, will be the best time for the PLP to be able to get back in office. Now, why do I say that? The Free National Movement is still in sort of a tumultuous position as it relates to leadership. Now, from an internal standpoint, there are many persons that are calling me that says, Howard, our commitment is steadfast and relentless. Over 80% of the delegates, the voting delegates within the Free National Movement, they relentlessly, undoubtedly support Michael Pintard. This is the information that I'm receiving. Simultaneously, we're watching the former Prime Minister, Dr. Minnis, hit us with books. Talk to me, I can't even get no amen. From church to church, from space to space, from place to place, talking about the power of determination. And if you read the book, because I got the book, if you read the book, you would recognize that this seeks to humanize him again. You forget about the tribulation that you endured during a tumultuous time in the country. You forget about the posture and the position that you were in as you dive deeper into the book. And you say, well, I didn't even know that. And then you find him in different spaces sharing little small snippings of his life, letting us in behind the veil and really giving human to the bare bones of indecisions that we looked at just at the end of 2021. The condemnation that we levied upon him. We struck him down with our words, with our action, with our posture, with our disdain. And then he comes up with his book, very poised. And I look at it and he comes in smiling. Of course you heard what we said about you. Of course you hear what the country's saying about you. My God, right after the election, you couldn't go nowhere without getting cussed. And he just water off a duck's back. And he's back at it. So we don't know whether or not he's moving towards this position. We don't know whether or not he'd even take on this kind of a posture to say that we're even interested. Every time you ask Dr. Hubert Minnis about leadership, he says, Howard, or he says to anyone, he said, there's no vacancy in the Free National Movement. There's no position in the Free National Movement. How can I vie for something that doesn't exist? How can I move towards leadership in a space where it's occupied? So at this moment, I'm not even thinking about that. But it leaves so much to the imagination as a result of him being able to craft it in that manner. You look at his posture. I could see his back teeth every time he smiled now. Is it just me? Did you see this book? I never saw his teeth. Come on, someone talk to me. Check me at GuardianTalkRadio.com. GuardianTalkRadio.com, you can be able to see the information right there. I never saw the former Prime Minister's teeth. He's seeking to turn over an entire new leaf and be able to reapproach, in my view, this. I have a couple conspiracy theories associated with it. I think leadership in our country has taken on this posture. This is me now, and I want you to be able to participate in it. The lines are wide open. If you want to be able to participate in the conversation, I'd love you to be able to do that. I think that leadership in this country doesn't seek to succeed. They just want to do not worse than the last guy. right? And there is an expectation that if there's a new guy, that he does worse than I've done. I don't think leadership is an easy thing. I think the current prime minister is taking on this posture where he understands this, being able to come up with and fess up and have these kind of conversations, which is going to lead us into a conversation for campaign finance reform. Yeah, and equality that exists in this particular space. We're going to have the very clear conversation about that. But I don't think leadership seeks to be able to really succeed and do the will of the people. I think leadership, and you know why I say that? Perry Christie embodied that. Perry Christie, from 2002 to 2007, the country, it was a horrid time as it relates to leadership. This is the assessment of the country. Between 2007, you're going back at between 7 and 12, you found yourself indifferent as we got to the very end of 7 when all the infrastructural, digging up happened. You identify that and you levied that on the back of leadership. By the end of 2012, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Perry Christie, came back with hat in hand. Literally. Puppy eye, hat in hand, standing behind and this kind of a frail posture, and the demeanor that has been broken, stepped up to the mic and been able to spill his soul and says to us that he could do some things better. He should have done some things better. Our heart went out to the man that we've loved for years. And we gave him another opportunity. Between 12 and 17. And that has proven to be the ceiling, the insignia on the incompetence of his leadership. Despite his likability, despite his posture, I think he's the most liked prime minister of the country. But as in terms of productivity, we didn't see much thereof. I think it was poor decisions. I like him. I always say that he's my favorite prime minister. I enjoy him. But I was identifying Sarkis Mourillian in his particular capacity as a novice, fresh out of high school, on the strength of the relationship and his proximity to his father, providing him an opportunity to be able to have this sort of a big thing. The entire legacy, your last few years, was hinged on that. You gave him a paper. He traveled the world and did what any one of us would do, the exact same thing. You gave him collateral, a piece of our rock. He went around the world, identified these things, brought $3.5 billion back. Here ensued issue after issue after issue after issue. And so your legacy was muddied, murky at the very end. Inconsistent, incoherent at first, but at the very end became extremely murky. And make a determination that you may just be the worst prime minister ever. The former prime minister could not wait until the bell rang at 6 o'clock. It was after 3. When he walked, I looked in through the news and they said, well, it was about 3 o'clock, and I went I went looking for former prime minister and said, Bola, you're going to have to write that concession speech. And he said to me that we're going to win. And I said to him, where does this man live? I laughed. But then I thought about it. And I realized that leadership has no desire to be above board and transparent in this country. Their only desire is not to be viewed as the worst. This prime minister now, as we look at this information, $1,000 for pre-election campaign on the heels of what his chairman has said, as it relates to a philosophical difference that separates the PLP from the FNM. The concept and idea of transparency, accessibility for information, the Freedom of Information Act, and being able to fortify that to ensure that there is access and accessibility for all is not a concept that exists within the PLP. Then you got to backpedal that. Now you find yourself in this position where $100,000 by-election travel is bananas. And it says by design, even the perception, the idea, whether faint or pronounced, of corruption and indifference that exists in this, that you've taken out this sort of an equilateral or this sort of this balance that exists or should exist from a constitutional standpoint within our politics. You've taken that out, eradicated, eroded it. Proud to take on these particular things. Not only you spend $100,000 being able to try to retain this seat, you've made millions and millions of dollars of promises that you intend to do for one constituency just to be able to win. This is an abuse of power. An absolute abuse of power. And if I was Kingsley Smith, I would be afraid. Because one, there is absolutely no way within the space of a few months that you could have undo all that has been done over the past 18 some years, almost 20 years in West Grand Bahama. And your political life may be one that is short-lived. Let's have deep conversations about these things, guys. I want you to be able to participate. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the family of violence, 242-300-5720.
Hey!
Or hit me up, 422-4796. Quick commercial break. Be right back after this.
Foundation. Hey, y'all having party? Why you ain't tell me?
You only has come to tote. Who tell you anyway?
Don't worry about that. Wings? From Popeyes?
Yeah, man. Popeyes have 5 flavors of wings now. Honey barbecue, ghost pepper, signature hot, sweet and spicy, and roasted garlic parmesan.
Anyway, while they're here, I might as well try one.
You better head to Popeyes and grab a box.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 323-5267.
Struggling to repay help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation here, just chopping it down and talking about what's happening in the country. $100,000 by-election travel. That's a lot of money. I got word from my cousins and friends and even politicians. Listen, politicians and members of parliament and ministers of the government was in Grand Bahama and calling me, "Hey, Howard, man, I didn't know this was your cousin." And then they put my cousin on the phone. "I didn't know this was your uncle." They put your uncle. "Howard, I just see your mother." All my family there. All my family in West Grand Bahama. I got calls from these people. They said to me, "Every in West Grand Bahama." I said, "What?" They said, "Everybody, the cabinet of the Bahamas is in West Grand Bahama." I said, "Well, it can't be the cabinet." They said, "Why?" I said, "Because Fred Mitchell's sitting in front of me right now." Everyone. And that's all hands on deck. So don't tell me that you don't know what all hands on deck mean. Don't tell me you can say it and don't know how to apply it. You've done it. They had cabinet meetings in West Grand Bahama. I'm still getting calls to say that there are some entities that haven't been paid as yet for some work that they've been doing in West Grand Bahama. And before I even start to talk about it, I always talk about being able to do things above board and the right way. Have you sent a letter? Have you identified these things? Have you sent the information accordingly? Have you done these things properly? Or are you just calling your cousin who know this cousin that and try to get some, do things with formality. Be intentional. Before you come to me and talk about this on the radio for me, man. Stop it. Do things with decency and in order. Prior to being able to to yell at anybody. My telephone provider is supposed to transfer my information now 2.5 weeks. My God. I tell them before I say anything about you, I pray to God that you get it done. They said, Howard, today we're going to have you taken care of. 11 o'clock, please be home. 11:01, 2, 3. Man, the time keep ticking. They ain't reached yet. But I dare not speak about their names yet. And I wouldn't levy that on the entire organization. I will do so strategically. I say that to say everything must be done above board with transparency. The government of the Bahamas needs to be able to revisit the concept and idea of campaign finance reform. Yesterday, we had an in-depth conversation about the Commonwealth and whether or not the wealth is common, whether or not this is equality. Not necessarily equity, equality. That is accessible to all persons. It's lopsided as it relates to accessing an opportunity to be able to get into the House of Assembly. And society is already conditioned to that. Society has already come to the consensus and a very clear understanding that there should be $100 or $200 in those T-shirts. If you ain't got, listen to me. When I was young, you then start to learn how to read, and then we'll get you a little envelope. Grammy then would buy you a happy birthday envelope, slide one little $5 in it. Daddy then buy you a happy birthday, slide a little $5 in it. Time you get 6, 7, 8, 9, before you read the words, you then shake an envelope. Trying to figure out where this money is. That's how you do it. That's how they do it in these T-shirts. They are shaking it out. Where the money is. Because there's a conditioning, a social conditioning, and an expectation that you pay me for access. That you pay me. If you want me to vote for you, you got to pay me. I need a washer and a dryer. So how you washing these clothes? On my hand. But you need to continue to do that. The devil is a liar. You think I can buy you? Hey! Let's talk about this. Lines are open, guys. Do you believe that this is time to introduce campaign finance reform? One of the things that actually, in my view, has killed Minis, right? 18 months in. I think it was about 18 months in as a fly in here, right? I think it's about 18 months in that actually sealed the coffin. My uncle said something. My uncle said, when I was in Grand Bahama, he was working for ZNES as the vice president of ZNES. And his position was vice chairman. My good, decent uncle. I love him very much. And he went on to radio, which he's get excited around political times. He has, since then, he's died down significantly. Obi has given him his job. Obi. His very good friend. Him and Obi them grow up together. If you listen to this mosquito in here, this needs to stop. What? Right? If you listen to the show that we did with Obi, And I had everyone, Diana Swan, everyone from West Grand Bahama, everyone who I had access to, who I could remember faintly that had anything to do with OB. I say, come, record something, 30 seconds. My uncles was in that. Okay, all my uncles was in that. Okay, they know, they was part of 8 Mile Rock Crushers together. And my uncle got a job because he was a disc jockey at ZNS at one point. And very good friends with Obi Wilchkim, and Obi gave him an opportunity to become president or chairman for ZNS in Grand Bahama. So he gets in ZNS in Grand Bahama, he gets a vehicle, he gets a house, he gets everything. Listen, Obi take care of him. My God. Salary, house, vehicle, the whole thing. He was doing well, and then comes campaign time. This was 2007. Going to 7 and 8, right? During that time. My uncle gets so excited and riled up, fortified by the support and the position that Obadiah has given him, and being able to strategically find himself in a better position and being identified from a political standpoint, blah, blah, blah. And so he's excited. So now relentlessly, I got to support the man who's been supporting me, goes on the radio and said, this is the nail in Hubert Ingram's proverbial coffin. In his official capacity. He's just not a layman. He's just not like a regular guy on the street calling into the radio show. This is 2007, and this is what he said. Now, if you remember, there was a great deal being levied against the Free National Movement and Hubert Alexander Ingram during this particular time. And one of the persons who will remember this very well is Steve McKinney. You remember these things. You remember these things. Well, needless to say, my uncle was no more as it relates to his position. And be very careful in how you identify these things and pronounce it based upon the umbrella that you're under. All right, now let's be decent as I say all of that. I look at this, and I would like to know whether or not this position that the chairman has taken to identify the philosophical difference that exists between the FNM and the PLP, one that continues to be able to pander to the concept and idea that we are fortifying and helping out the grassroots, but forget all the top business. Forget these things. We ain't talking about that no more. That's the FNMs do that. We ain't talking about that. We're dealing with grassroots people. To come out and articulate that, I would like to know whether or not that's the formation of a nail. I just want to know. Y'all talk to me. Is that not necessarily the hammer and the nail? I don't know if this is a strike. But my question is whether or not the chairman of the organization being able to take with such tenacity a position that says that this is a line that separates our two philosophical differences politically. They don't necessarily believe that this is important, freedom of information. While the world runs into data, the world runs into information. Data mining is one thing. Cryptocurrency things from a digital aspect to be able to identify is being rejected. All in one sentence about a philosophical difference. Is this the formation of a nail in the PLP's coffin come 2026? It's a question I have. Or are we content as a society that our politicians could be able to say things flippant, off the cuff, and we accept those things and still provide them an opportunity to get back into power? $100,000 is not a little piece of money. In the grand scheme of things, it may be a drop in the bucket. But if we look and examine closer, this is the erosion of the bottom of that bucket. That's what this is. That's what corruption is. The PLP has taken on this position with no remorse. They're indifferent about how you feel about it, and they've taken on this to find victory. And many would justify it and say if the FNM was in, they would do it also, which I don't disbelieve. Many organizations find themselves having a hefty campaign when they're out of office. When they're in office, all their campaigning is going well. They can pay for all of that. When they're out of office, child, we ain't got that. You only can get 12 shirts. Excuse me? You only can get 12 shirts. Well, he's a candidate, you got to go do your own shirts. Why? Because you don't have the purse of the government? So what about your accounting? We ain't got no money for that. We got to start to talk about campaign finance reform. We got to start to talk about this kind of a balance that needs to be introduced in our country. We got to start to talk about very clearly about the fact that there needs to be identified a particular amount of money for you to be able to participate, that you cannot go over this threshold. We got to start to talk about identifying a way to be able to police these things. It's not enough for a candidate to say, well, I ain't got no money on me. I never carry no money. But your generals got $500,000 and $600,000 squeezing out to everybody. Come on, let's talk about this. I don't know why we play like we don't live here. I live right here. And we know these things. So I'd like to talk with you and find out from you whether or not we are ready, mature, and understanding enough to be able to say, we need freedom of information, we need a Whistleblowers Act, we need an ombudsman, we need all these particular things that can ensure the safety and security of those that wish to be able to identify the infractions and corruptions that exist in our system. Are we mature enough? Or are we and saying, well, child, I got children to feed. How would I get 2 children? I will never forget that example. I tell the people, let's fight. I say, let's fight. You all keep telling me, let's write a letter. I write the letter. They give it to the man. I get fired. They pay me out. Everybody else get laid off, get fired, and then they push the hotel down. My God. You got to make a determination to stand in what you believe. That's just it. We got to stand for what we believe. And I believe it's time to stand for campaign finance reform. We should not lay heavily and dependent upon marketing, promotion, advertisement, glitz, glamour, music, rhythm, and don't have substance in the candidate. There should be more town halls. There should be more conversations about what's happening in the community as opposed to being able to throw at me chicken and fritters, Guinness, and a half bag, allegedly. Y'all need to stop. It is time for us to be able to be above board and identify the talent that exists in this country. It starts. The one thing that I thought that did Prime Minister Minnis over was the commitments that he's made to campaign finance reform, to 2 terms for Prime Minister, to the delivery unit, to all these things. These were noble. Can I say that? Can we talk like this? This concept that he had in terms of being able to provide transparency, a finite time for commitment, so forth and so on, he would have still been the Prime Minister today, in my view. If he had done campaign finance reform, 1, if he had done the 2 terms for Prime Minister, because everyone would have been content. Well, child, he only got 2 terms. Let's give him another 5 years. That's exactly where you would have been today. If you would have actually identified the promises that you've made on the campaign trail to people, both pronounced and on people's SETI and in their couch in their house, and you identify those things and execute it during your time in office, you would have still been there. I'm telling you. And this Prime Minister, the low-hanging fruit is what the PLP dealt with when they came into office. But they have yet to identify these concepts as low-hanging fruit. It's time. It's time for the Prime Minister to come and say, we want to ensure that Prime Ministers get 2 terms. That's it. But you can't say that because you continue to be able to look at the one man in our era that you can be able to touch and see and feel and see right now. He's gotten 3 terms. My God, I should be able to get 3 also. Very superficial the way that we deal with our campaigns and our politics and our people. It's time for us to deal with that. The text lines are open. The lines are wide open. Let me read a couple of texts. It says, I keep hearing the media stating that the Prime Minister is well liked. Where is your data to prove this? I know those public servants who were sent home and still home on administrative leave for long, logical doesn't like him. For no logical doesn't, I think there's no logical reason. People don't like him, right? So it says, Pierre Glover can never answer the opposition in Parliament when they ask the question about will the public servants be reinstated? Because that's above Pierre Glover's pay grade. Y'all stop. Why do you play like this? Why do we play like we're silly about this? Why is there an expectation to be able to identify a gotcha moment? That is above Pierre Glover's pay grade. She's not going to be able to stand up there and tell you the pleasure of the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister seeks to be able to ensure that he can have this pleasure of serving the people of the country as long as he can. Why would they ruffle feathers? Why? Why would they make these pronouncements to put egg on their face? What is our expectation? You're looking for a gotcha moment. And I don't know whether or not they have that. Now, as I look at this, you keep saying, I didn't say that the Prime Minister was liked. For the 6-7 years that I've been doing this, every man that sat with me that spoke about Prime Minister Davis when he was in the capacity as deputy leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, every man, both publicly and quietly, has said to me that Davis has helped people. Davis assisted me in this. I think it's time for him to be able to move towards this. This is the pronouncements that are made by people who identify you as leadership because they sit in the same capacity. They say that he's qualified, he's capable, he's ready to make the thing happen. So that's the data. It has been years and years of people coming and sitting on these particular platforms to be able to tout the water for Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis. Now the question is his likability going to take him to the next general election? Let's see if we can read a couple more of these texts, right? So it says, Howard Joe wants us to believe that these people are serious about campaign finance reform with billionaire yachts, jets, and cruise lines, and they ain't asking them for nothing. Get real, Howard. This is a text that's coming through. It says, Howard, I would like to put the food vendors on the dock of fish fry on blast for food service. Y'all call the show and tell me that. Howard, we drive from the inner city east and west to visit the two locations for fresh crack conch, but almost all vendors are serving frozen crack conch. From their crack conch, which we know is not delightful at all. I was told by one vendor if I want fresh conch for crack conch, I would have to ask for it. And it's a different charge. Unthinkable. And if that's the case, say that on your menu. I passed too many other places in the city to drive all the way here for frozen crack conch. Stop misleading the Bahamian public. Did they tell you they have fresh crack conch? Do you know some place you get fresh crack conch? Where? Tell me again that today. My wife and I gave, let me tell you something. When I want fresh crack conch, because I enjoy crack conch, I tell my wife, cook it for me. I beat it. She cooked it. I assured that this is fresh. But the way that things are going and the overhead associated with these particular things, you may not necessarily have fresh crack conch. But I hear what you said. I'm not going to fight you, my brother. I'm with you, right? It says, Howard, only you was voting A. The only way minister was getting a second term. No, Minister would have gotten that second term. Y'all behave yourself. You know he would have gotten that. If Minister did campaign finance reform, if he said there was a cap on identifying these particular things, that there should be transparency, that there is you need to be able to expose your accounts, boom, boom, boom. Anybody who's associated with you Minister would have gotten a second term. This ain't me advocating for the man. This ain't me say, let's go vote for him. I am saying to you, Minister would have gotten a second term if he had done everything that he said. We didn't say. We ain't put nothing in his mouth and writing on his tongue. He said he was going to do it. He didn't do it. And I think he suffered on top of what we endured in COVID-19. He suffered as a result of not applying himself to those particular things. Let me take this call. A call on the line. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Howard. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's happening?
Everything's good. Just calling to make a contribution that we've been saying the same thing all for the last probably 15 or 20 years. We need campaign reform. We need this. We need that. But the people's needs are the responsibility of the legislators and the persons elected to carry out those needs. So they may be what we need, but I don't think it's what they need. There's only 39 members that sit in Parliament and determine the lives of some probably 500,000 people. If it were the other way around, we would have a little more say in how things go. So if you think, let's be honest now, if you think a guy who controls an entire nation from an office with a pen is interested in having little time or less time than as long as he possibly can to do that, no one's going to do that. No one who is not selfish is not going to do that. And I say that's why I want people to hear that. It's selfish to think that only you can do it, and I want to do it as long as I can. One of the things that have always impressed me about the democracy of the United States of America is their forefathers recognized long ago that it is not good for a man to even believe that he is the best that can do it for as long as he can do it. That is folly. But that is where, not just the Bahamas, the Caribbean believes that that is the thing we shouldn't change. So on that point, they won't change that. But on the final point, campaign finance reform has been something that we know has to change, because if I can get $1 million, I can tell you I can determine that cat's got to walk upside down and I'll get it passed. See, that's the power you wield when you can apply money to a situation where there's only, a few people to control the destinies of many. So we hope that things can change. We desire that men and women who sit inside the Honorable House act honorable and do things for the good of the society. But the record does not reflect that that is the mindset of most politicians. I'm not speaking about any party. I'm talking about politicians. That does not seem to be their mantra. So thank you for allowing me.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so very kindly for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here. I always like your contribution. I think I agree with you, my good friend. I agree with you that it's not on the mind of politicians. But I doubt that it's on the mind of the average Bahamian, because there's no agitation for it. And where there's no agitation, that silence gives consent. This is what we get. $100,000 in an internal travel budget. Let's talk about it. Let me take this quick commercial break, guys. Get to news and be right back after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 323-5267.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-7764.
Saturday, March 9th at Collins Estates Grounds, Collins Avenue, and Shirley Street. It's March Madness Grill Fest beginning at 12 p.m. There will be lots of grilled food and tasty dishes. Grilled chicken, beef, fish, grilled that, grilled this, skunk fritters, shrimp rolls, and fried barry too. Native sweets and treats, ice cold drinks, leaded and unleaded. Domino and bingo tournament, live band and DJs. Proceeds in aid of our Disability Awareness Summer Camp and John Canoe Group. For more information, call 804-1773. Powered by Bacadas and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We nudge, so we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal.
So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's that time of year to join the movement. It's time for the annual Guardian Media's Healthy, Wealthy and Wise Fair, Saturday, March 2nd at the Mola Marathon. Starting at 10 a.m. Admission is free. Come and receive free health screenings by the walk-in clinic, fantastic product info, and sound financial advice. Participate in the exercise demonstrations by Natasha Brown, Outdoor Fitness Bahamas, and RF Exposure. There will also be a CPR demonstration by Superior Care, plus live performances by Blotty, Johnny Cake, Shine, and Carrington McKenzie, ending with a Saxon superstar Junkanoo Rush Out. Join the movement. It's the annual Nassau Guardians Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise Fair, Saturday, March 2nd at the Mall at Marathon.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, the foundation. Guys, if you check me out, GuardianTalkRadio.com, GuardianTalkRadio.com, you could see I got my little hat on. I got everything. They came bearing gifts. And today we're going to be talking about none other than Pop's Island Move. Is a movement. Movement is a machine, right? Movement is medicine. We got all this information in here from ages 5 and up. It's going to be happening on March 9th from 6 a.m. They got everything. They want you to join now. They got some numbers in here. I want to introduce you to the persons who are responsible for this, and they're all the way from Four Seasons Racemanagement.com. You can check them out, Four Seasons. We know this person. He's always sitting with us, none other than Marcel Major. And we also have Mikey Pops Dames here and Joshua being able to do it. The guys, introduce yourself to the country.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having us, Howard.
And I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you bring my little hat. My son can teeth this, but nonetheless, you know.
Yeah, man, you don't want no more. You guess no cold in your more.
I appreciate you, man.
And you know, if it's dropped below 80 degrees, it's freezing in the bottom.
Hey, listen. 78, I'm looking at it and said, baby, you got to get a blanket, right?
I'm Mikey, known as Pops. And I'm hosting the race, and this is my son, Joshua.
I am Joshua. I'm known as the inspiration.
Joshua, no young gals listening to this. You need to stop. All them in school, you're ready to try to put the baritone on, you need to stop, right? But I'm grateful that you're here, man. And we all know you, Marcel. Marcel, say hey to the people out there.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bahamas. Good afternoon, Running World. Good afternoon, Roadmasters. Good afternoon, Mrs. Teresa Major. It's a good pleasure to be back here, Howard.
Listen, man. You got to shout your wife out. If you eat tonight, you better shout your wife out. Really. Shout your wife out. You still got time.
I have to shout my wife out now. My wife, Corel Dames. Thank you to Roadmasters. I just joined Roadmasters, so I'm now officially a Roadmaster. But I want to say thank you to my wife and my daughters, my sons. They are all helping me to organize this race. My wife is my backbone, and the kids are my arms and legs.
Talk to me about this race. Is it the first time that we had this going on? Is this an annual thing that you're going to be doing? Talk to me about it.
This is going to be an annual thing. Full disclosure, I just started running in September in the competitive, semi-competitive 5K races. I started running in earnest for myself last year. And recently I got engaged with a coach, a really, really good coach. He didn't give me permission to use his name, so I won't. The race started out when I realized my birthday is actually going to fall on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was attending every single race that Marcel was having. So I was like, hey, after one of the races, I say, why we don't do a race on March the 9th? And he looked at me literally like I was losing my mind. He said, yeah, okay, call me next week.
And you called him?
And I called him. And it took off from there.
Wow.
I have my daughter, Mickey, Epiphany, Michelle, one of my little cousins. All of the kids are involved in helping to organize it because I don't think anybody appreciates how much work goes into staging a race like this. Marcel absolutely knows that. And engaging his services was critical because you can't do it by yourself. There are a lot of moving parts that don't manifest themselves at race day. People just show up at the line, they run a 5K, 10K, a half marathon, even a marathon, and the digits and what's going on around them gets lost in translation. So I am grateful for Marcel and his family and Four Seasons Race Management for supporting my craziness, because when I went home with this idea, all my kids were like, oh man, Daddy, what?
You always talking foolishness, Daddy.
I know they tell you. No, they know I'll
listen, I'm looking at Josh, he got his eye up right now. Yeah, he lying, my God.
No, they know I'll execute, but they know I come up with crazy things for us to do.
But why this? Why this? I see you got your salt and pepper here, right here.
Hey.
I know that you Pops is not a young thing.
Nope.
And you started this thing off. You told me in our conversations that you started last few years. So
About 8
is
years.
this sort of a health thing that you're doing?
Yeah, it's a health thing predominantly. I started running on the beach with Josh. Actually, he truly was my inspiration. I started January last year, 56 years old. And even my friends in my set think that I've lost my mind by starting at 56.
How are your knees?
They're there.
They've gotten better.
And they constantly remind me that they're there.
We're here.
Oh, no, I feel good when I'm sitting down.
Behave yourself.
Yeah, when the standing up start.
My God.
And the
But you're still
gunshots
running.
start going up. Yeah, but I'm starting now to enjoy it because a lot of people don't appreciate that there's a science to running. There's an education process to running. You can't just get out there and run or you will discourage yourself from running. That's why I got a coach. And that's how I got a lot closer to Marcel and his family. But you need somebody to show you how to do it properly or you won't enjoy it. And I wanted to enjoy it. Like the whole idea that you could get out and go for, 4, 5, 6 miles and enjoy the scenery, enjoy what's going on around you is it's cathartic. That's the easiest way to say it.
Is it more at the beginning of this quest? Is it more distraction? Is it more trying to be able to hit the rhythm of running and let's say you count your steps, so you try to be able to think of something different
I'll be honest with you.
as opposed to thinking about your knees saying knee,
No,
knee,
the way
knee,
I started out on Goodman's Bay because my knees were a little bit problematic.
on the soft side.
And that's essentially a horrible idea, for the want of a better term. But what I did was I started by
You was
doing...
bust right up when you finished
Oh,
with
my
that.
dear. I thought I was going to die.
I know.
But what I did, I started out by running 30 seconds and walking 30 seconds.
Oh, I like this.
I got that all the way up to running for 3 minutes and then walk for 30 seconds.
I like this.
Then I hit a flat line and I'm like, I am not improving. I'm still doing the same time every single time I do it. And that's how I solicited the help of a coach to get me a little bit further. And ironically, since I've been with my coach, I haven't been back on the beach for a while. That's not a good thing because the training that they put us through is amazing, but it's tough. Like it's really, really tough, but it's really worthwhile because I've watched myself improve incrementally, but improve in the last month easily by 100% from what I was doing on my own.
You do 6 minutes now. You do full 18 minutes. What do you do now?
Oh no, our last run was, we have a speed day and a tempo day, and my last tempo run was 5 miles. What?
Yeah, 5 miles.
5 miles, and
5 miles.
I got that in under an hour. So I'm
Ooh, man, that's
around
good time.
11 minutes
This
a
is
little
good
under
time.
11 minutes.
He's
No, that's
doing well.
terrible.
This is good time.
That's coming from an 8.
This
7
good time.
minutes, 8-minute miles. I'm
Yeah,
going
but
to get there.
he conditioned for years to do this.
Yeah. But I'll tell you
And
what.
in the short space he's doing very
That's what
well.
I'm saying. You're doing well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. One of my motivations for this whole thing, the race, as well as running, and as well as my fitness, is I honestly don't want to be that dude in the mall whose wife is pushing him around in a wheelchair with an oxygen tank.
You want to know?
No, I'm dead
You
serious.
think wives ain't got nothing better to do? This
but you see it all the time. The guys who don't really take care of themselves, like they get to a certain age and they stop moving. Coach says, motion is lotion, movement is medicine. I fully ascribe to that, because why do a lot of people get that kind of age coming on them? They stop moving. Seriously, our grandparents and great grandparents used to walk to work every day.
Yeah, if
And
you
then
ask
go
my
work,
grandfather. My grandfather says things like, "I used to walk to work. I used to walk to school 15 miles in the snow."
Uphill.
I'm like,
In both directions.
What snow in the Bahamas? What are you saying to me, right? But I just want to know from you, what is the overarching objective of this? What is the idea that you'd like to be able to see come to the forefront with this?
Quite honestly, people like me at any age, when I say like me, who are afraid to just get out there and try it, who are afraid to start, who are afraid that it's going to be, they're a little embarrassed they're in the shape that they're in because they used to run in high school or they used to play football in high school.
Or they had abs before.
Yeah, they had abs.
Now
I got abs.
Now
like-
it's just one ab.
Yeah. No, I got abs. You can't see them real good.
They're absent.
In the
So you
they're
absent?
Yeah. I use it that way.
So tell me, so you want persons to participate. So
Yes.
all these persons, you don't have to be a seasoned runner, you don't have to be a trained runner, you don't have to be able to, you can participate right
Anybody.
where you are. Talk to me about it.
Anybody could participate.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it was Marcel, who suggested we don't do a timed race for the very first race, because we don't want the pressure of you having to, I'm going to get a timing bib and I'm going to get this and get that. Like the persons who are serious runners who are going to participate with us, like my friends from Road Runners and Roadmaster, and Just Run and a few of my other friends, they're going to come up. They serious runners. They got watches that'll track them from space. So we don't have to time them. We want other folks that are just afraid to get started. I want you to get started. And that's the impetus behind Pops Island. Move. Just move. This ain't a run. Just get out there and
There is procrastination
just move.
associated with it, There is this sort of an idea. I have to get all my ducks in a row. I have to do this first. Do I have the right clothes? Do I have the right shoes? There is this level of procrastination.
I agree.
Because they fear that their knees can talk to them or their kidney or something's going to happen.
But check it out. It's counterintuitive that if I start to have knee problems, what's the first thing they tell me to do? Don't bend them. Don't use them. You ain't gonna strengthen them. You ain't get them stronger. My knees are getting stronger because I'm actually using them, like literally using them. So I want people who are having the knee problems to come out. If you need some bands, I wear knee bands to support my knees so that they get stronger. Come out and start moving, because if you don't move, you're gonna lose it. The motion is truly lotion, and the movement is medicine. If you don't get into it that way,
I like this.
You're going to end up sitting in a chair, and your latter years are going to be doctor, pharmacy, complaining.
My God. You might as well get up and walk.
Get up and walk.
I like this.
I have a philosophy. If you set a goal for yourself at any age, even at my age, what goal could you possibly set that your wellness and fitness isn't paramount in that goal?
It's the truth.
There's absolutely no goal you could set.
Yeah.
The being fit enough, well enough, even what you do as not well, your brain ain't functioning enough for you to host a good show.
Yeah.
So you gotta be fit. You gotta be well.
Yeah.
And the way to
Get
do that
working.
is to get moving.
Get moving.
Keep it moving.
I like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be able to participate and go out to this. Talk to me about when it's going to be, where it's going to be, how people could get registered. Let them know exactly who your sponsors are. Talk to them about it.
Okay, March the 9th is next week, Saturday. It is going to be from Western Esplanade we're traveling east from Western Esplanade down to the Rubis gas station, which is right next to Crown Lands, and back. That's about 3.2. Yeah, about 3.2. Slightly over a 5K. Very walkable. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. It's not going to be hot. That's literally the day before time changes, so it's not going to be hot. It's going to be a nice, cool morning. We're doing this rain or shine because the serious runners and I are going to make this thing happen.
There's running the rain.
Yeah, we have to.
Tell me about registration. A lot of persons who are out there sitting down right now trying to figure out how they can participate.
Very, very easy. Four Seasons Race Management. 4 Seasons spelt out, for the FOUR. 4seasonsracemanagement.com. Or you can go on popsislandmove.com or any one of the social media platforms as Pops Island Move, and there's a QR code that will direct you to our registration site. If you have any difficulty with the registration site, feel free on any one of those social media platforms to direct message us, and we'll help you through the registration process. We have some really amazing partners. We've tried really hard to get a lot more partnerships. Unfortunately, I got disappointed by people I thought would be a little bit more open to the idea, but so be it. I fully understand. We came in a little bit late in the game, so hopefully next year they'll be able to participate. But all of our partners at this point are the Corn Roaster, the Maine Vegan, Mickey's Table, which is, all of these have social media platforms. Albany Bahamas came in and they're assisted and they're sending a team out. Element, which is this sports drink, Stay Salty, out of the United States.
Element sports drink?
LMNT is their logo, but they are a sports drink. They do electrolytes and sodium. Their catchphrase is "Stay Salty." They came in from the United States. They don't even have a presence here in the Bahamas, so we're introducing them to the Bahamian market.
So
those
this is
who
what
don't know about
you're
it.
going to have this down the
That's going to be a part of everybody's race kit who registers.
Okay.
We also have Soul G.
You got to take your glasses off to read? This is too much, sir.
Yeah, for management, obviously. 9 to 5 import-export. They're bringing all of the gear in for us. Wild Sugarcane, ARM Bottling Supplies, Quality Home Center, Crystal Select Premium Drinking Water. They actually bottled all of the water. Hold on.
Crystal Select is the best water in Nassau.
And they have bottled all of our water.
That's my guy.
They're also going to be one of my vendors. Me and Andrew like backside and chamber, man.
It's my guy. That's my guy.
No, he's really a cool guy.
Okay,
he's
good.
a really good guy.
Okay.
And our fruits are going to be provided by Premium Foods.
Really?
Yes. So those
are good sponsors.
Those are our sponsors. Well, sorry,
you got excellent sponsors.
I'm missing a couple. We have Healthwise. They're going to do the medical the medical screening at the race. Trust me, everybody needs to do the medical.
It's a hell of a birthday present for, you know what I mean?
Listen, I am loving it. I'm loving it. My family knows that I like very practical birthday presents. At this age,
this is practical.
Another pair of shoes, another tie, another bottle
That's
of cologne.
impractical.
I need that like I need a hole in my head.
But running.
But staying fit.
Okay, good.
And staying focused on being fit.
I like this.
Right? Through the grace of the Almighty, I don't at this point. Zero. Nothing for
and you
high
never
blood
had?
pressure. Yes, I did about 8-9 years ago, Josh.
A lot. To the point
That's how you have to change your diet.
I changed everything.
To the point where you used to have the whole 2 hands and bring the tissue
for medicine
with the pills in your hand for that.
That's crazy.
Serious as a heart attack. Now I am on zero medication.
That's crazy.
I don't even take supplements. I honestly don't take supplements. I'm not saying people should not.
As you got healthier,
yes,
you weaned off and you recognize your body feels good. You don't need this particular thing no more.
I cannot remember the name of the lady.
Except the blue pills. You keep those.
No.
Stop it. You need to be heavy.
I got 8 girls and 3 boys, and I didn't use one.
It sounds like your kids are young too.
Yeah. No, actually, the oldest is 35 and the baby's 8.
Okay.
So my plumbing been working for a little while.
Praise God. I'm not gonna fight you.
No,
I'm not gonna fight you. But it's good to hear these things, that you're healthy, and you can attribute these things to a healthy lifestyle, eating well, and definitely movement is your medicine. Being able to get yourself moving and make some things happen.
One of the other things I want to point out is a quote that I heard some time ago, and it was on the wall of one of the restaurants I used to go in, that food will either be your best medicine or the slowest form of poison that you'll consume.
Just food?
Your food.
And this a restaurant put this on there?
On the wall. No.
Oh, this is wild.
That was a vegan restaurant.
Oh, this is a vegan restaurant. Okay, none of this. Well, guys, I want to be able to thank you so kindly for being able to join us today and talk about these things.
I forgot one of my sponsors.
Talk to me.
Four Seasons Crane.
Crane, yeah.
Neil Knowles.
Neil.
That's my That's my brother from another mother. So he's come in just yesterday. He said, Mikey, how you doing this thing and you ain't called me? I got to be in it. I got full support from those guys. Neil is solid. But all of the people that have partnered with me have been more than amazing. And there's still room if somebody wants to come in as a partner. They can DM us on any one of the social media platforms or touch bases with.
There's some people who like numbers.
Four Seasons.
You got any other number, like anything in a person's?
Yes, 827-5509. You can message me on that number. You can try the number. I apologize if I don't answer right away, but if you message me, I will definitely call you right back. 827-5509. If they contact me that way, if you want to become a partner, if you want to register a group, if you want to participate and you're having a little trouble with getting registered, between myself, Marcel, Joshua, and the rest of the family, we get you registered because we want as many people to participate. Ironically, we have a limited number of spaces. We've only got 100 and, we were preparing to make sure that we got the best for the crew to come in. So you want to register as soon as possible because we already have quite a number of people that are registered from the running groups that we're in, and as well as the partners sending, some of their participants. So we got quite a few people already. So if you want to get in, you want to get in as quickly as possible.
Also, if you want to join the vendor village, you could join at popsislandmove@gmail.com.
popsislandmove@gmail.com. That can take you to that if they go to the website. You have anything actually?
Yeah, if they go to the website, they can link on to us right there. And I think there's registration on the website for the vendors. But we have a limited number of vendors. We already have our medical screening. Crystal Select's going to be there. The Corn Roaster's going to be there. The Main Vegan's going to be there. So we have a few vendors already. So we only got a limited number of spaces for vendors.
Now, we didn't get time to talk about this Main Vegan, but you Vegan Sauce.
Vegan Sauce. Vegan Sauce.
I'd like to see that.
You are going to see that. You have my word. With the entire Bahamas listening to me, I promise you I'm going to bring you some of my vegan sauce.
I'm not going to fight you. Ladies and gentlemen, ages 5 and up. If you want to be able to participate in this Pops Island Move it is medicine, to be able to participate in that from the Western Espionage, March 9th. That's next week, Saturday, March 9th.
My birthday.
At 6 a.m. Come join Pops to be able to come out there. You got vegan cake available? You got to.
I got cake, but I got vegan Johnny cake.
You got vegan Johnny cake?
Vegan Johnny cake.
Go get that thing, right?
But Howard, there was one thing that I think Mikey neglected to let the public know.
Let me hear.
That part proceeds from his race.
Oh,
yes.
my
goodness. To go to the Sickle Cell Association of the Bahamas.
And I would like to, if I could get a minute, like 30 seconds on the Sickle Cell Association. The reason I picked the Sickle Cell Association is really, really simple. My very first child as a parent has sickle cell. So my entire adult life and my entire life as a parent, extremely educated.
You had to find out more about it. Why did baby have these issues?
We found out when she was 3 years old because she wasn't being screened properly as a baby. That's a whole show all by itself. Needless to say, we found out, and I got baptism by fire. So for me, supporting sickle cell was easy simply because it's a very vicious, it's difficult on a parent to have a child that is in absolutely excruciating pain and there's nothing you do about it but wait for the doctors to perform them. It's absolutely debilitating for a parent to stay strong when your kid is getting a hep lock for the 100 millionth time for them to put up an IV, and you're trying to encourage them to be strong, and you're wishing you could take it away from them. So if our participation, if our endeavor with Pops Island Move can help to relieve the stress of one parent, one child for one day, we would have done what we were supposed to do. So even if folks can't participate in the race, I beg you, I implore you to make a donation to the Sickle Cell Association because unlike some of the other associations, they don't get as much traction as they need.
The Sickle Cell Association.
Yeah, but the disease is... I am not taking away from
I had a friend
any
who
other
had sickle
parent.
cells when we were in high school, and in math class or any class that we were in, he's just on the desk crying.
And crying
That's it,
meaning
just crying.
real,
And we couldn't understand what was
unadulterated
happening.
pain. Like
As children, we didn't understand what was happening.
unstoppable pain. Like it's tough. It's tough on the child. I'm not going to take away from any other parent that has a sick child because I empathize in a way that most people can't because they weren't there.
Yeah.
Anything to make sure that your child isn't in any type of jeopardy. You can imagine having a child with a debilitating disease. There's nothing you can do about it. Like there's no cure yet. So if our effort this year, next year, and the next 10 years can raise enough money to cure this disease, I'll die a happy man.
But even your participation, even if it's a drop in the bucket towards the greater cause, you're participating, and that's a very important thing. That consciously you're taking on the position to do that.
You see, I think a lot of us forget that if you're going to progress towards something, even baby steps are progress. So even if you think contributing $1 doesn't seem like much, it's $1 more than the association had.
Yeah.
There's $1 closer to a solution.
Yes.
So a baby step is progress. So if you can't participate in the race,
still
do something.
Yeah.
If you're able to do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I want to thank you so very kindly. Got to check them out. Like I said, March 9th, got all the information in there. Please check out fourseasonsracemanagement.com, fourseasonsracemanagement.com. And we could be able to get that information out. And you could be able to give them a call also, 827-5509, 827-5509. Join them March 9th, all the way to the Western Esplanade. They're going to be able to do a little 3K. What's that? The 5K.
That's 3
little
miles.
5K, 3
3.1.
miles, 3.1 miles. Got everything going on. Pops Island Movement. Part proceeds definitely go down. They got great sponsors, great information, great packages. You can find out more information. Please do so at fourseasonsracemanagement.com. All the information's in there, guys. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to do that. Have a wonderful time. Thank you for my hat. You make me feel like I need to be able to get moving. I'm serious this time, man. I see. I don't like to look at this because I'm a big fellow.
I know about when race next week, Saturday, March the 9th. You could come on.
Listen to me. I don't like to tell people this because I'm a big fellow. But people don't listen to me. I lost over 120 pounds years ago. This was years ago before I was married. Then I got married, and it's a whole different story, right? So I lost over 120 pounds. I did 5 miles every single day, jogging.
Nice.
Right now, I could jog 2 miles. People don't believe me.
Yeah.
But I need to get back into shape. My God, I got to do it.
We're here
if
to
my
encourage
wife
you.
would stop stressing, no, I can't blame her.
Well, if you don't blame her, it could be your fault.
I gotta blame somebody. My God, can't be me, guys. I want to thank you so very kindly for this. I want you to be able to join, and if you want more information, I can send you the flyer. Hit me up 827-0111, 827-0111. I can send you the flyer. Please participate. This is Pops Island Move, and movement is medicine. Be able to be a part of that as he celebrates his 16th birthday.
16.
You wilding too much, guys. Quick commercial break. Be right back after this.
Thank you, my brother.
The foundation. Foundation.
Bonneville Bones, established in 1970, is the leader in men's fashion in the Bahamas. We're conveniently located in the Mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza, and fully stocked with everything you need for all occasions. Our Harbor Bay location is one door north of Alive, with the black and white signage of Bonneville Boutique. Both locations are open from 10 to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Bonneville Bones and Bonneville Boutique, still the leader in men's fashion, located in the Mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation. It is wonderful to, always be able to host persons locally to talk about these things. This is the day that's dedicated to that. We've always tried to be able to identify small businesses and give you a space and a platform. The reason why I feel the necessity to do that is because I know about small business. I have my own business. I know about the stress and strain of marketing, promotion, access, and being able to identify a demographic to pull into your business. It's not an easy thing. It's not. It's extremely expensive when you provide service and quality and so forth and so on, and you feel like you have this undeniable product, but nobody knows. That maybe a small grouping of people know, maybe in the back of your back trunk, maybe the 6 people around your desk to work, they know about your product and they can be able to swear by it. But if you don't introduce this to a wider audience, you find yourself still trapped in this space. Small Business Thursdays for you. If you never understood what this was about, this is truly for you. You understand? This is not a gimmick, not a design for you to be able to bring in more of a monopoly business. This is for you. We give you great rates at this time. And I don't want to go into this kind of a spiel where I feel like I'm selling you. I got to sell you on this concept. If you are a small business owner and you know about this thing, let me tell you what. I opened up a restaurant. I had this restaurant called Palate Pleasers. Still got it, still got my license and everything like that, right? I don't have a location. I'm really looking for something closer to the beach. So if you have a location close to the beach, hopefully somewhere west, I'd like to be able to rent that thing from you. Call me, 827-0111. I'm serious. I'm very serious, right? The concept and idea was I built the entire place out with pallets. This was the concept. The entire place with repurposed pallets. I took the pallets, I ripped them down, I made chairs, I made tables, I made backboards. This place was so sexy. The backdrop for the bar. This is before this was popular all over the thing, right? I figure the only reason I did this, not was for the purposes of creativity, it was because I was broke. Somebody talked to me. I didn't have the money to buy the wood. I knew what I wanted in my mind. I did not have the money to purchase the lumber. So as a result of not being able to purchase the lumber, I had to figure out in my mind what was free, accessible, disposable, and I could be able to repurpose pallets. And I used pallets. It was either that or I was going to cut down some pine trees. And that didn't work, right? So I used the pallets. Now, I spent all my money, time, and effort in building up the infrastructure of this place and spent $0 in marketing. Now, I got great food. I got great service. All my people in their uniform. I got all these things. I then got the place booked out. And I cannot afford to put a $400 sign to the door. I cannot afford to go on the radio and spend $1,000 to be able to do a radio ad. I can't. And I beat myself up every day for not having a marketing budget. If you're one of those persons who doesn't have a marketing budget but understand that you have an undeniable product that you want the persons to hear about, to be able to participate in and with, give me a call. And that's just from me to you. Give me a call. 827-0111, 827-0111. The entire idea is for persons to be able to get... Listen, right now we're sitting down and we're speaking to more than 65,000 people. I'm telling you. Nobody is telling you these numbers. We're sitting down and speaking in the city of Nassau and accessible around the world to more than 65,000 people. And this demographic that we speak to is not a demographic that you have to wonder if they're coming into your space. Every person who sat with me. Okay, so Crystal Select came with me the other day. We just came in. I said, just come in and we'll talk, right? No problem. He came in. We sat down. We talked. I'm sorry. He didn't even comment. He gave me a call on the radio. All right, call in. He talked about his product. I indicate how this is an absolutely undeniable product. You should be able to check him out. The best water in Nassau. Somebody called me and say, this other water is better. That water is better. You have not tasted Crystal Select. It is the most refreshing water in the city of Nassau. And I stand firm by that. I tell you, I sat down and I said to myself, I won't put up a sign in the front of this man building to say foundation approved. I'm telling you, this is how assured I am in this particular product. This ain't my product. I ain't got no shares in this man thing. But I know that you're going to be satisfied when you taste Crystal Select. We had this kind of a conversation. He calls me back after the show, says, Howard, I've already had 2 or 3 different home deliveries. A couple people stopped by and all these particular things. You are going to get your product taken care of when you come to me. Someone talk to me. Somebody can buy your product. Somebody's coming to spend money with you. This is a demographic of people that are between the ages, the majority of persons that listen to us, that are between the ages of 45, let's be decent, 42 to 67. That's the majority. That is the mass bulk of people. That's a demographic. That's a segment of society between 42 and 67. These are also people who are secured in their jobs. They're secured in their position. They know who they are. They participate. These are upstanding people. Boom. This is the demographic that we have here. These are the people who are spending money with you. So come and do some business with us. 827-0111, 827-0111, and get your product out of your back trunk, off the shelf. My God, stop trying to sell us the same Valentine gift from last year. Jesus. Stop trying to sell us the dry rot shoes. Stop trying to sell us these clothes with got closet stain in it. Every year you're trying to sell it, it ain't working because you ain't telling nobody and you hoping to God that you could go on the side of the road this year and get it sold. Stop it. Stop it. If you care about your product, if you care about your business, marketing, advertisement is what's going to push the thing. Let's do that. 827-0111. And that's enough of that. All right. So I want to thank you guys for being able to do that. Thank you guys for participation. The lines are still wide open. We started to have this kind of a conversation about where we are with campaign finance reform, where the country is, and whether or not this is the proverbial nail that is being formed. Now talk to me. And I got to ask you like that because the Bible says to us that no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. Is this a weapon that is being formed not by the hands of those that oppose you, but internally crafted in your organization, saying the wrong things contrary to the age and the time that we're in? We are in a time of absolute transparency, especially the year of 2024. Today, I got a shout out to my good, decent cousin, Kayla Roll. Kayla Roll is celebrating, I don't even know which birthday this is. Her birthday only comes around every 4 years, right? So I don't even know technically how old she is in comparison to the years that she's existed. Happy birthday to Kayla. Kayla, we love you very much out there in Grand Bahama. We hope that you're doing well, celebrating your birthday, doing well, and doing those particular things. This is the 29th day of February. I have seen strange things just walking this morning. My wife saw a particular gentleman walking on Wolf Road. We don't know if your granddaddy is missing out of the house. And he's walking up and down on Wolf Road with a trench coat and a Kangol hat. We don't know. He is of a Caucasian hue. I just want to be decent as possible as I say this to you. My wife and I start to speculate, where did this man come from? It's peculiar, but today is the 29th day of February. And stranger things have happened. So some things are happening in this leap year. And in this leap year, the first thing that we're looking for is transparency. This is not the year of segregation of information. This is not the year of separating, to say, oh no, this is us and them. This is the year of being above board. We've seen that with the introduction of what's happened at the top of the year, BAP. Locally, there have been one murder after another. There has been, this may be the year of reckoning. Someone talk to me. This may be the time and dispensation that we live in of reckoning. Whether there's coming face to face with your accusers, Whether this levying the accusations that you've been quiet about, Puff Daddy, talk to me. Whether this is being able to come to grips with your position from an employment standpoint, from a relational standpoint, this is the year of reckoning. This leap year, we got to jump over the formality and get to the meat and potatoes of what's happening. Someone talk to me. And as I say that, the PLP introduced to us, we didn't ask them for this information, that the philosophical difference that exists between the parties is one is attached to the transparency that exists in this time and the other isn't. What are you saying? What are you saying? Now we're having information for $100,000. This can no longer happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you, this can no longer happen. We can no longer accept that our governments are flippant with our cash to be able to ensure that they fortify the position of their political organization. This can no longer happen. We've already continued to yield to the fact that the most talented persons are not afforded an opportunity to be able to step into governance, to assist with the growth and development of this country. We've already come to that conclusion. Well, child, is who you know. We've already made that conclusion, but not beyond that. It's not just who you know. It's the crafting that shifts the direction of who we are as a people and what we stand for. This is unrecognizable. This is blatant, and this is corrupt. It's wrong. And it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It's time for this to come to an end. The Progressive Liberal Party, as we wrap the show up to be able to talk like this, the Progressive Liberal Party has an opportunity to be able to be returned as the government of the day. If they do the things that the Free National Movement made commitment to under Hubert Alexander Minnis, that they've made commitment to by dealing with low-hanging fruit. We're not a superficial people, we're not naive, and you can't lowball us. But it's time for us to identify that prime ministers recognize that they work for the people of this country, not to be able to perpetuate their agenda, this idea that they are supreme beings in our country. It's time for them to recognize that they work for the people of this country and make a commitment with sobriety to say that I, as this particular prime minister, promise you that I will only work for you within a 10-year span. If you afford me an opportunity this time and the next, I assure you this particular agenda will be fulfilled. Just give me an opportunity. If the PLP does that, they may find themselves back in office. If the PLP comes to the forefront and reject this idea of being able to see a philosophical difference between political organizations and introduce strength within the Freedom of Information, strength within the Whistleblowers Act, strength as it relates to transparency, accessibility, and growth for the Bahamian people, the PLP may get in office again. The FNM can find themselves victorious if they deal with their internal issues, first and foremost, and identify that this is the course that we're taking. And they start to speak to the language of progression, growth, and inclusion that we yearn for. Not just this pontification, but show us with action that you are ready to make some things happen. I could go deep with you, deep, and say to you, I am of the firm belief that if Loretta Butler Turner had remained steadfast in her position with all that is ensued within the Free National Movement, she is an absolute, undeniable shoo-in for not just the leadership of the Free National Movement, but the first woman prime minister of this country. I believe that wholeheartedly. The time requires it. I identify those things. The Free National Movement has fumbled the bag significantly over the past term. And I, in my mind, don't see any way to fix this. This talk and idea of the PLP being able to be the first time over the past 2 decades, return to leadership is only because of the turmoil that exists within the Free National Movement. That's it. Not that they're doing some great job. Not that they're hitting all the marks. They're counting on your failures to be their success. And we're counting on you to be able to push those things aside so we, as the populace, can identify true leadership and afford it an opportunity. Let's talk like this. Telephone line. Go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, good day. How you doing, Howard?
Antonio, get in today. Don't cuss me. Praise God, you're here.
Yep. No, I cussing you. I
You can't cuss me for yesterday, cuss. That over. Go ahead.
Howard, boy, look here. It's a good thing I won some shares. And it's a good thing I won 49% of them shares in the BTC.
Praise God. You get something back.
Anyway, look here. On this specific piece of the topic that you're on right now, as it relates to empowerment and translating that into a second term in office. Howard, if the Progressive Liberal Party, and this was a part of our platform and our mantra, right? Empowerment of the Bahamian people. And also, beyond empowerment, creating a generation of millionaires. This was a part of our platform, a part of our mantra. Are you hearing me, Howard?
Mm-hmm.
I know because I was a part of the committee. Okay? And that's what I pushed specifically, tremendously, because it has been decades in this country, Howard, since we have had any leader, any government that did just that for the Bahamian people. What you say, Howard?
I hear you. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you.
You agree or you disagree?
I agree in a sense. I do. I agree with the concept and idea of being able to do these things. But I'm indifferent from a political standpoint. I believe that it takes more conviction, more strength and determination to make these things happen. I believe that pronouncements.
Stroke of a pen, Howard. What you talking about?
Yeah, but pronouncements ain't good enough. They ain't make the strokes of the pen yet.
A stroke of a pen, my brother. All it takes is the will to do it and execute. That's it. That's it. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Do you believe that this administration will do it?
But no, listen, Howard.
Let me hear.
That's what I'm looking forward to from Philip Brave Davis, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Chester Cooper, Chester Cooper, Deputy Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And the Cabinet. That's what I'm not looking forward to these low fence, low fruit, low picking items, Howard. I'm looking forward to the Progressive Liberal Party, the party that liberated the people in this country, to empower the people in a real and meaningful way. You hear me, Howard? I'm looking forward for us to be able to say, look around you. You could feel, you could see the fruits. You can identify the fruits of the work.
But how do we get up that tree? We have to start off low. We have to start off at the first step.
And we ain't getting to no Puff Daddy party either.
Hold on. No, I don't want to go. Now listen, but how do we climb this tree? How do we get up this? How do we get to the pinnacle of these bigger decisions? I think it starts with small decisions.
You and guys were having a conversation a couple of days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or yesterday, whatever.
Yesterday.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to contribute to that, where you all were identifying some of the persons who benefited from the policies of yesteryear, of the Salinan Pinlin, Arthur Hanna, and the rest of them. The rest of the great men and women of that generation, policies that they promoted to empower Bahamians. We no longer do that, Howard. It is not happening, my brother. Despite all of the big talk, it is not happening. The government that repeats, Howard, the next government to repeat government in this country will be the government that empowers Bahamians in a meaningful way.
I like this.
That removes the impediments, that removes the roadblocks, that removes the red herrings and the red tape, that gets away from the excuses and does what they know they can do for the Bahamian people, my brother. You hear me, Howard?
I accept it. Let
me make another point.
But let me ask you, do you believe that this is the PLP government that will do that? This administration here, who has increased the travel budget, who has admitted to this position of being able to use $100,000 for pre-election, who has made this relentless and far-fetched concepts and ideas, this commitment to West Grand Bahama, just for the sake of retaining a seat. Do you believe that this administration is going to be the administration to do that?
Howard, you asked three different questions just now, right? I believe that the Progressive Liberal Party will live up to the promises that were made to West Grand Bahama and Bimini, the constituents, the residents. I believe, Howard, that the Prime Minister's travel around the world to bring the Bahamian presence back to the table again has been more than justified in the efforts and in the gains and in the recognition thus far in the relationships established or reestablished. I believe that is more than justified. The problem, Howard, the only problem, Howard, is if we could get that last leg of the race together, economic empowerment. The people who have the mindset, Howard, to try and throw petty talk into the Kong salad mix, people will disregard them. The people who try to bring the Prime Minister down for traveling around the world to represent them, the Bahamian people, to advance our agenda, to put us at the table with the leaders. Because if you're not at the table and you're not in the conversation, you're left out. We will annihilate those kinds of voices and leave them in the wilderness. You know why, Howard?
Anton, use my guy. Use my guy,
why,
Anton.
Howard?
I ain't getting against you.
People-
But
if
climate
people
change
can
is not
feel-
our agenda.
Howard, if
Climate
people can
change
feel-
is not our agenda, Anton. Talk to me.
Say it again, Howard.
Climate change is not a local agenda. It's not the agenda of the Bahamian people. That is a concern that lingers in the back of our mind. But immediately, the first thing that you started to talk about, which is economic empowerment, the first thing that you started to talk about, which is social welfare, access, education, so forth and so on, these are the issues, even illegal immigration. These are the issues locally that the administration doesn't seek to be able to deal with.
And guess what, Howard?
with
Guess
instant
what, Howard?
gratification.
Howard, Howard, can you hear me, Howard?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm so happy you went out with, look, man, Howard, climate change is more our agenda than most people recognize, my brother, because why? We saw what happened down there in Abaco, Howard. We saw what happened down there in Abaco. Our Abaconian brothers and sisters had to go to the United States, even though they were only afforded the limited time frame of 3 months to catch. Howard, have you been in the brunt of a storm? Look at the damage it is doing to you.
Yes,
And everything that you have built up over your entire life and had to face that right after the storm. Have you experienced that, Howard?
Yes. Andrew. Hurricane Andrew.
That is mind-blowing, Howard.
Yes, I know.
Some people take a lifetime to get over that because they lose everything that they have built up over a lifetime, Howard. My brother, climate change, it is vital to us, our sustainability over the long haul and the medium, my brother.
Okay.
In addition to that, as you said, as I've been saying for the last 20, 25 years in our country, we need that square deal. If we can manage, Howard, over this last 2.5 years, because look at what happened with the Christie administration of 2002 to 2007. One of the most successful administrations in the Bahamas history of politics. We were voted out. Even though we had jobs to an irreducible minimum, even though we had the economy running on all cylinders.
Anton, this is heavily debatable. This is debatable.
Howard,
I don't even have the time. I don't even have the time to debate. Of course, it's debatable, Anton.
Howard, listen here. Let's just understand this point. If you walk away with 1 point,
let me hear it. Go ahead, because
my brother. If the PLP government, my government, if the Prime Minister, who has the heart, who is that kind of individual, can continue to do the work that he's doing, but at a swifter pace, to bring to pass economic empowerment, to bring to pass empowering a new generation of millionaires in our country, to bring to power a further empowerment of the housing community in our country, the hospitals that we are seeking. Howard, we will be the repeat government 2026, 2025, whenever we call the election, my brother. And whoever are the naysayers, no matter what they are saying, the Bahamian people will bury them. If we as a government can get back to that 60s, 70s, 80s movement of the Cylinder Pillen era,
my God,
and do what we're supposed to do for the people.
I appreciate you, Anton.
We will wake up. Given time and more election.
Thank you, man.
We have the opportunity now. Let's get it right, Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show today. I want to thank you so very kindly for your participation. This is former Prime Minister said in Parliament that it is between the PLP and the FNM for the government. All others will be crushed. Think on these things, Bahamas. This is from the Mayor of Grand Bahama, Rudy. He will send plenty funds to England, and they're taking theirs. Sorry for the truth, Brother Howard. This is information that's coming through. Guys, I want to thank you so very kindly for your participation. Somebody tell me, said, watch out, keep your ideas and keep your action. Howard, it was informed that the government is giving taxpayers a property until the 31st of March. The government needs to go after major businesses, rich big boys, and people who are coming out of the country to do business. There's a lot of things that's going on.